Hey everyone, it's Courtney and welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about sorority recruitment. I know sorority recruitment is around the corner for a lot of girls, and I just want to be as much of help as possible. I know it's a lot of stress, wondering what to wear, where to go, how to act, and I just want to be able to help with some of that information that you may have by explaining my personal experience through recruitment and the tips I learned along the way. And yeah, also, there is going to be a second video to this that is going to be about my sorority experience. So stay tuned for that. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment on the video, and let's get started. So I rushed at a Big Ten university here in the Midwest, and so recruitment was a pretty big deal. I'm not saying that it's not at smaller colleges, but at my particular school, it was a huge, huge deal. Now, recruitment can last anywhere between 3 to 6 days. At least in my school, it was about a week ish. Um, but I'm assuming all no school is the same, so we started out day one with orientation. Now, with orientation, you're basically just meeting all the girls, you're meeting your recruitment counselors, you are getting your information. Now, I'm probably going to repeat myself a couple times in this video by saying don't be afraid. I know the rooms are going to seem intimidating, and being in a room full of hundreds of girls all vying to be in a sorority can be a bit much. But don't be afraid. Everyone in there is just as afraid as you are. So make friends. Make a lot of friends with the people that are around you, even if they don't end up in your same sorority. They are still going through the experience just as you are, and everyone could use a friend. So, in orientation, also, they're going to be giving you little packets about what to expect throughout the week. Also, they may give you an informational on the different sororities that are on your campus. And my campus had 16. So we had a overview of the 16 houses, the 16 chapters, where they were located, a little information of what they were really about to take home with us so we can, study up for the next day. And yeah, and okay, moving on. So the next day of you're going to be getting an itinerary. When you meet the next day, so day two, you will be going to meet the houses. Now, when you go meet the houses, they ask that you dress in casual clothing. So that would be jeans, that'll be, a pullover, a nice sweater, hunter boots, Uggs, um, anything really comfortable, not sloppy, but comfortable. And basically, what you're going to be doing, so at my school, we had it for the first 2 days. What you're basically going to be doing is you're meeting the girls, you're meeting the houses. And honestly, one thing you need to do is keep an open mind going into these houses. Don't, this isn't TV. It's completely different. So, my experience was I the houses can be intimidating, which I thought when I first walked down the street where all the houses were. At my campus, there was house after house after house, and it could get pretty intimidating. But you are with other girls, and just keep an open mind. Then you're going to enter the houses. Now, when you enter the houses, you're going to be entering in, and you are going to be given a buddy almost. Yeah, it's a buddy. You're going to be given a buddy. And with that buddy, she is going to have you and a couple girls, and they're going to take you into a room where you guys can talk, get to know each other. Also, you're going to have little cards or information about yourself. Like, it might be something really silly. Like, I think one of mine said something like, I like musical theater, Pretty Little Liars, or something like that. Just something really simple about yourself that you can talk about, because basically you're just trying to get to know them. They're trying to get to know you. You're trying to get to know them. Consider it almost like speed dating, just for sororities. And with that, with that, you need to just open up a little bit. You don't have to tell them your whole life story, but you definitely need to show them some personality so that you can get a feel for what house you want to be in. Now, the first night meeting the houses, it could take anywhere between 15 to 20 minutes. Um, they're trying to get to know you. The whole house is trying to get to know you. When you leave that house, you're going to be going to another house and doing the same thing over and over and over again. I was saying earlier, at my school we had 16 houses to visit. So on one day on the first night, I believe we visited like 6 maybe, and then the rest we did the following day. So you're wearing casual clothes to both. If you were wondering about the dress code, you're wearing casual clothing to both, and you are meeting the girls. Um, Now, in after meeting the houses, you're going to after you meet all of the houses, you're going to be given at the end of the day of the last day of meeting all the houses, you're going to be given a um, like a roster almost of all of the, it's going to be blank, and you need to fill it out from basically best to worst. And you're basically letting the people in charge of recruitment know where your head is at as far as sororities go. You're going to be explaining who's your favorite, and if for some reason you didn't end up in that house, who would your follow-up be, and so on and so on and so on and so on. But also, with you filling out your information about them, they're also filling out information about you. So just because you may favorite one house over another doesn't mean that that house favored you necessarily. And I know that sounds scary, but it's really a match. You have to be matched with the house. You have to be you shouldn't end up necessarily in a house that you may like more than they like you. Let's see. Then when you come back the next day, you are going to be given a itinerary. So at my college, it like narrows down. So instead of having 16 houses on there, you might have 11 or 10 houses on the list. The list will start to fall down based off of who's not your favorite and all that good stuff. So you won't have to go to all 16 for every event that they have. The next event that we had was philanthropy. So with philanthropy, we had to dress business casual, which typically they might ask you to dress business casual. And with business casual, that just means take your casual outfit and just up it a bit more. think of Pretty Little Liars, think of Spencer Hastings, um, in reference to what to wear to that, or even Hannah when she's, you know, or even Hannah when she's dressed up. Just think of casual but dressy, if that makes any sense. Um, and with philanthropy is, for those of you who don't know, it is the charity of choice. So each sorority is given a different charity that they host events for and fundraisers for throughout the year. And so they range from Girl Scouts, arthritis, Make a Wish, and so on. So they are going to be explaining it to you in depth, and you may even get to do a little project with the girls to get your hands into what they do in helping with their philanthropy. Now, the next event that will be happening will be the Sisterhood Night. In my school, we had Sisterhood Night, or day rather. So, with that being said, they basically just explain to you what their sisterhood is about, like who they are, what makes them a unit, what makes them them, like what makes them want new people, what makes you want to be a part of them. And so they may explain a little brief history about themselves. I mean, these sororities have long, long legacies and histories that go as far back to the 1800s. So they have a lot that they can share. And they have so many girls that come in and out of there, um, of all different nationalities, backgrounds, ethnic groups, social classes. So they need to really explain, you know, what brings them all together as one. Also, with Sisterhood Night, I believe we were able to be casual again, but it really depends on your school and what they want for you and what they're looking for. Then you have Pref Day. Now, Pref Day is basically when they bring it all together. They want you to dress very formal for this day. So think dressy, think cocktail dress, think tea party, think a little glitzy. Yeah, and they're going to be just giving you a little bit more insight into what makes them them. So it's almost like sisterhood. It's almost like meeting the house and sisterhood all combined into one. And it can get really emotional. I know in the sorority that I ended up in, I remember the house, it was extremely emotional. We had amazing music, and it was very just warm and loving. In the room, and you could just feel that these girls loved each other and cared about each other and really just wanted to welcome new people into their home, into their sisterhood, and I really liked that. And so then the big day comes. Big day. Now, big day can be extremely dramatic as far as I'm concerned. It can be extremely dramatic, depending on your school. Now, on bid day, you are going to be taken. I know in my school we were taken to the room where we had our orientation, and they are going to have a lot of little kitschy events or skits planned. So, like, you're gonna find out who your recruitment leaders or your recruitment leaders who had been helping. If I didn't explain that earlier, you're going to be having assigned recruitment leaders that are disaffiliated from their sorority, so you're not going to know. You can guess, but you're not going to know what sorority they're on, where they come from. You but they're going to be helping you through your experience. And on bid day is when they finally reveal what sorority that these girls are in. Now, by this time, a lot happens. A lot happens on this day also. So, between pref night and philanthropy night, you will have down your amount of houses, lessened your amount of houses that you go to. And by the time pref night comes, you could only have one house on your itinerary, or two or three. So typically, I know on mine, I had one. So I already knew like what sorority I was going to be in the next day for bid day. But just in case you have multiple ones, just again, keep an open mind. Don't overthink it. Really, I'll say really try, because I know sometimes, as girls, we like to go with who we think is popular, who we think looks the best, and sometimes it's not who matches up with who we are. You need to go back. Personally, I think you need to just, oh, you need to go with your personality. Don't try to be something you're not. Don't try to join something because you think that it'll look good, or that the group might seem one way than another sorority group. And yeah, just be yourself, find your tribe, and they will definitely make it easier for you as the time goes. And if you can't choose, I mean, by the time bid day comes, somebody will have chosen you. Somebody will have chosen you. And that is also another question that I know people want to know about is, does everyone get a bid on bid day? And the answer is, for the most part, everyone does. But on a rare occasion, people do not. Which, even if you don't get a bid, that doesn't mean necessarily that no house wanted you. It could have been that you were overlooked. It could be that, they just, wanted to go with something else. But after bid day is over, usually what ends up happening is those girls who didn't end up in a sorority will get asked to tea, they'll get phone calls by some sorority who will want them. Like, for the most part, everyone ends up in a sorority. Now, another thing that I want to talk about as far as bid day is that, as I was saying, it's extremely dramatic. So on this day, as I was saying, you get to know what sorority your counselors are in, but you also get to find out what sorority you are in, which can be both very exciting for some, and some people might be disappointed. But I've learned through experience that sometimes, even if you're disappointed, there's a reason you may have ended up in that house, or maybe you can go through recruitment again. So it's not the end of the world if you have gotten chosen. I have had a couple different friends who have gone through recruitment one year and ended up in one sorority, and then they go through it another year and then they end up in a completely different sorority, and they're extremely happy. So just keep an open mind the first time. If it's not for you the first go around, you can always try again the next semester. It's not a big deal. And then after you find out your sorority house, you get to finally join your sisters at the house. And you finally get to join your sisters at the house. You finally get to celebrate with them. You get to meet everybody officially. You get to really get to see the inside of the house, get comfortable, take your shoes off, play games, learn a lot more about everybody, and it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. Yeah, and so let's see if I left anything out. Oh, some tips. And now for some tips to getting through sorority recruitment. So tip 1, As I said a couple different times, have an open mind. Make sure that when you're going into these houses, you're not being judgmental. I mean, everyone's different. The houses are different. The girls are different. They all represent different things. And so, with that, you just need to have an open mind. If you don't feel comfortable, you don't have to go back to that particular house, or if you don't feel comfortable with the whole process, you don't have to go through the whole process at all. You can drop out if you'd like. It's completely up to you. It's not a big deal. Sororities are not for everybody. Also, be prepared mentally, emotionally, and financially to join a sorority, because you are going to need all of it. These are your sisters, but at the same time, it is a financial responsibility, just like anything else in college. And it can be a bit expensive for people who, I mean, for a college student, it could be a lot. Make sure, also another tip, make sure that your family is also okay with you joining a sorority, because I know, like, family is very big in sororities. And if you're, I'd prefer you didn't hide from your family that you were joining a sorority, but with the, it, just don't. Let's see what else. Oh, another tip as far as wardrobe is concerned, bring shoes. Bring changes of shoes. Not even just changes of shoes. You need to bring anything for the weather. I pledged during I went through recruitment during this time a couple years ago, and it was wintertime. It's wintertime in the Midwest. So there were a lot of accidents. There are girls who don't prepare for it, who just walk down the street in stilettos and wipe out on the street because they weren't prepared for the elements. Always be prepared for the elements. No matter what's going on, you need to be prepared at all times. That's with your hair, that's with your makeup, that's with, bring an extra coat, bring a scarf, bring a hat, bring Uggs, bring rain boots, bring something. Just be prepared for anything. And stay focused. Have fun, don't be scared, make tons of friends. Some of the best friends that I've made in recruitment were from the girls that I met in line with me going from house to house. And they're not even in my sorority. A lot of them aren't even in my sorority. I have a couple that are, but for the most part, they weren't in my sorority. They didn't end up in my sorority. But they're extremely sweet girls, and if I hadn't gone through the process, I wouldn't have met them. Maybe. I probably would have. I mean, maybe. Another thing about sororities that is, I know some people concern themselves with or prejudge about, is that some people think you're paying for your friends. And I understand why it would be perceived that way, but really you're not. You're paying for an experience, not necessarily your friends. Because just because you join their sorority, these are your sisters, but you have to make the relationships once you get into the sorority. Getting into the sorority is the easy part. The friends part is the hard part. It seems easy, but really it's kind of the hard part. You're not paying for them, because you can't pay really for anyone to be your friend. Yeah. So like I was saying, I am going to have a part 2 to this video that's going to be talking about my personal sorority experience. But if you have any more questions, anything I didn't answer, please let me know in the comments below, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.